The future innovation trends that we see for IT from an SAP point of view are basically 6. The first one being consumerization of IT. And what I mean by that is that users want to enter and access the applications like they are used to in a very simple way, simplistic way. The next one is about social computing. Social computing is well known, for example, with Facebook, that increased the usage of Facebook to 50 million in only 2 years. So social networks are spreading. What does it mean how companies, for example, communicate with their employees, how employees communicate with suppliers and customers? The next trend I see is on green IT. IT is producing about 2% of worldwide emissions, and that was in 2007 already. So with an increasing IT need or need for IT, how are companies going to deal with that? It has a sustainability component, but it has also a cost component. IT will cost a lot more of energy. The next trend is mobility. What we see is that in 2013, the main access for the internet will be via mobile devices. So if companies don't start today to equip their employees to have mobile devices, they might lose an opportunity. Moving parts of your hardware and your applications into a cloud, not sitting on that infrastructure yourself and using it. What we see is that already this year, 80% of all new services, software services, are deployed via cloud. So this is a starting point for companies to get ready for that. Data volume is increasing, doubling every 18 months. So a lot of data is collected. How can companies take advantage of those data, analyze it in real time, so they can improve their business performance?
Technology helps us tremendously. In New York, we have a concept that's called ComStat. It means computer statistics, which gives us real-time information about what's going on throughout the city. Rather than getting information about crime that happened last week, we can get it immediately. That helps us deploy our resources and thereby reduce crime. So, as I see it, there's going to be a heavy reliance upon technology with the objective of working with the people in the community to achieve the objective of improving the quality of life.
We're now entering a period where everything gets connected. And we've seen sort of the convergence in computing in mobile devices, and we've seen it in the internet. And I think we're now moving into a phase where if different systems can communicate together, if energy systems can talk to water systems that can be used for storage, that can talk to waste systems where we can extract water, and those things can be harmonized with their uses and city functioning, I think we can start to achieve some of the efficiencies that we've seen in other industries. As of 2008, 50% of the world's population are living in cities. Over the next 40 years, we'll grow by about another 3 billion people, and we'll have 70% of those people living in cities. We're going to deploy over the next 10 years as a world $12.3 trillion in building new places for people. And the challenge is we've not really built very many new cities over the last 1,000 years. And so we don't have a lot of experience in that. And we tend to approach those things in very inconsistent ways. And cities are very complex organisms. And ultimately we know that the battle for both the environment and probably peace around the world will be won or lost in cities. How do you take a common approach that takes into account all of the variables that you have to think about, not just the use of the land and how you physically deliver the places efficiently, but how do you reduce the consumption of natural resources? How do you make those cities more efficient in the way they function? And how do you provide a platform for human development and human productivity? As we develop as a world, those countries that effectively deliver these platforms for human productivity will ultimately be the folks who progress and who will absorb most of the GDP growth of the world.
In order to bring about a major transformation of a large, complex organization like the New York City Police Department, you really have to have leadership at the top. someone who has a vision as to where the organization should be going, someone who can articulate that, and someone who can then empower the people under him or her to make that happen. And I found also that the top leader must have a sense of values. What's important for the agency, and how do you articulate those values? How do you literally change the culture of the organization?
CEOs need to be much more involved when it comes to business transformation. They also need to have a competence of understanding the technology and not only understanding what innovation it can bring to the company, but also how they can execute new business models with that technology.
When you move into new markets, you've not got the precision analytics to understand how things are going to go. At best, you've got an approximation based on your prior knowledge. And having courage and conviction to pursue those things that other people would call dreams, other people would call vision, I think is a critical facet. Having the courage to circulate people in a business, scrupulous in the hiring, to make sure those people support the values, believe the values, live the values, maintain the culture, and have strong vision that creates meaning for people. The association, that's something that's beyond the job and a paycheck. It's something that somebody can go home and say, you know, I achieved something today, I was empowered, I was autonomous, but at the same time I did something that made a difference.